I have already discussed that despite posing with Putin, attending all major events and gatherings held by the state power, and even despite the marginal voices suggesting to elect the Patriarch Kirill as a new president after Putin, the political power and influence of the Church, and the Patriarch in particular, is quite limited. He might have more say in one issue than in other, but nobody seriously considers him as a political leader of the country. And the secular powers oftentimes act against the Church interests, like for instance in their decade-long conflict with Ukraine, where the Church effectively loses Ukrainian Orthodox believers, a significant part of her congregation. Throughout the millennium-long history of the Russian Orthodox Church, she almost always strived for symphonia, which is a term for a harmonic and balanced co-rulership of the country by a secular prince, Tsar, emperor or president, and the Russian Orthodox Patriarch. In the Russian history, the secular power has almost always prevailed. Some rulers and regimes were very dominating and even violent towards any attempts of the Church to obtain any political influence. Ivan IV, widely known as Ivan the Terrible, had the Church under his total control and even ordered one of his commanders to strangle the Moscow Metropolitan with his bare hands. Peter the Great totally abolished the See of Patriarch and made Church a state department, and Stalin physically eliminated most of the Church leadership only to reinstate it a decade later under his total control and infiltrate it with the secret police. There were, however, two cases, both in the 17th century, when Russia was ruled by a tandem of the secular Tsar and the Church Patriarch. The first Tsar from the dynasty of Romanovs, Mikhail Romanov, for 14 years co-ruled with the Patriarch Filaret. That situation was very specific, because the Patriarch was Mikhail's own father, who was much more influential politically but could not himself become a Tsar. When Filaret was younger, he was then called Fyodor. He was involved in political intrigues and was forcefully made a monk. Hence, he could not hold a secular office, including the throne. Therefore, this tandem of the father and son as the secular and Church rulers of the country was to be expected. Another case was a continuation of that rule. Mikhail's son Alexei co-ruled with his former mentor and spiritual advisor, Patriarch Nikon. Nikon would later initiate a church reform, leading to a great schism and the emergence of old believers, but this is a different story and I have a video on that. Anyways, just like the previous tandem, Alexei and Nikon co-signed the most important documents and decrees. Both had similar titles of the sovereign and great leaders of Russia, and both actively participated in decision-making. However, over the time, Alexei overpowered the Patriarch Nikon, which eventually would lead to the last dethronement of the Patriarch in the Russian history. Please like the video, leave a comment and subscribe to the channel. I see you all next time.